How many times have you left your house to play PC games?
Standing at the top of a 14,400-foot mountain is one thing. Standing at the top of a 14,400-foot mountain with a bunch of guys with laptops and keyboards.
It's just not that common for most of us to leave the comfort of our own rigs to play in a public space. But what if I told you this environment is a big reason why Asia consistently tops the world of esports? PC bongs and net cafes were born in the 90s, and in the West, they didn't escape the 90s. Much like Tamagotchis, the Virtual Boy, and Devil Sticks.
We still do what we do best, we play with sticks and we promote the product.
But PC bongs are still going strong in South Korea, outliving any number of high-profile 90s failures. PC bong literally means PC room. It's just a room full of computers, and in the East, they're built specifically for playing video games for hours on end. Which, when you think about it, is kind of strange because South Korea actually has the highest internet penetration rate in the entire world at 96%. So in theory, almost everyone in the entire country could probably be playing video games at home without experiencing the problems plaguing other regions.
What is happening? Why? What? Oh, you know what that was? I was like, that's lagging.
But they aren't. There are more than 20,000 PC bongs across South Korea. The industry is booming and is so influential to Korean gaming culture that people around the world pay attention to what titles are most played in them. PC bongs became so pervasive that in November 2011, the South Korean government banned children under 16 from playing video games after midnight. That said, kids can still be exempted from the curfew if they get permission from their parents.
They can listen to me, like I do this all the time.
But where did the PC bong craze begin? Well, the first ever internet cafe, called Janja Kappa, opened in 1988 in Seoul. It was a pretty standard cafe, but had 2 computers, connected to the internet by dial-up.
Ugh, dial-up. That shit was the worst.
What are you talking about? Didn't you love listening to...
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Anyway, Janja Kappa closed in 1991, around the time that a guy named Wayne Gregory invented the SFNet Coffeehouse Network, which installed coin-operated computers that connected to a BBS. BBS, or bulletin board systems, were basically a forum you could connect to back in the day, before the internet looked like it does now. As the 90s wore on, internet cafes began to spring up all around the world, from Siberia in London to the Binary Cafe and Hexadecimal Emporium in Toronto, which fueled its all-night Doom sessions with illegally smuggled Jolt Cola.
Jolt has all the sugar and twice the caffeine of regular soft drinks.
Back in Korea, the government established the Korean Internet Infrastructure to make computers and the internet more accessible and affordable. But the 1997 Asian financial crisis cut their efforts short, leaving Korean internet access pretty sparse. The recession hit Korea hard at the end of 1997, but in March of the following year, one game came out that effectively changed the face of Korean computer usage and gamer culture forever. StarCraft.
I love you, Sarge.
The original StarCraft grew into the country's most popular game and kickstarted the PC bong industry. If a family was lucky enough to have a computer and solid internet access at home, they probably weren't going to let their kid use it to play video games all day. But after school, you could take a few thousand won over to the local PC bong and play StarCraft all night long.
Movies are so last season. To hang with the cool chicks, you've got to push all the right buttons.
The trend has also spread to China, where there are 145,000 registered internet cafes. There, it's illegal to play if you're under 18, but kids still slip in and play anyway. In 2006, the government said that because kids would become instantly addicted to the internet, net cafes would become hotbeds of juvenile crime and depravity. But instead, they've become the birthplace of some of esports' greatest stars.
然后有的时候实在没有空，也会逃课啊，去网吧玩啊。然后当时就老师会告诉你的家长。
South Korea's esports infrastructure is partially built on PC bongs, to the point where Riot's new LCK Arena is based in a PC bong called LOL Park. Legendary League players got their starts in PC bongs, as did StarCraft players and, most recently, Overwatch players.
제가 초등학교 때 아빠가 저를 PC방에 데리고 가셨는데 그때 제가 스타크래프트로 PC방 알바생을 이겼어요.
Most South Korean esports stars start their journeys in PC bongs, which raises the skill level of every player in the country. And it's not just Asia that's seen esports players grow through internet cafes. CS legend GetRight grew up attending tournaments at Swedish LAN centers, while Dota star Miracle got his start in Jordanian net cafes. But the North American internet cafe has mostly disappeared, buried in the same 90s graveyard as Emilio Estevez's acting career.
Quack, 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 quack! Mr. Ducksworth. Quack, quack, quack,
Gordon,
quack, quack!
Stop
Quack, quack, quack!
As the years went on, consoles and home computers powerful enough to run games became more and more common in Europe and North America, leading to the drastic decline of internet cafes in the West. It's similar to what happened with arcades. Arcades were extremely popular in the 80s and 90s, but as consoles became powerful enough to run games that looked better and provided longer, more engaging experiences, arcades faded away. After all, who wants to pay a quarter at a time to play Revolution X, the Aerosmith light gun game, when you could enjoy it from the comfort of your own couch instead?
Come on in. You got your win. Welcome home.
The arcade, however, was a social space. You went there to play video games with people, be it friends or strangers. And just as arcades still provide that social gaming experience in Japan, the PC bong fills that niche in Korea. But people still run and operate PC bongs in the West. In fact, right here in Toronto, we have a variety of PC bongs trying to recreate the Korean experience in Canada, like eBlue Esports Stadium on Yonge and Wellesley. While PC bongs have a small niche market in the metropolitan West, they don't match the impact or influence that they hold in Korea. It's not even close. PC bongs are the soil from which Korea's modern esports scene grew. Without them, we might not have the infrastructure that's helped to build some of the biggest games in the world. You know, with the legalization of pot in Canada, I could really see PC bongs taking off. Really? At work?
Yo, it's medicinal.
Still depressed about the 90s ending, eh? Here, let me take a hit of that shit. You know what was great, dude? Fucking Beetleborgs.
Oh, yeah.
It's reflecting. Yo, this is like in Raiders of the Lost Ark where he goes into the tomb and he's got the stick with the headpiece on it and the sun comes through and it's like, except my face is where the Ark of the Covenant is buried. So that's why this, it's